Page number 9. Dunja nam kalama bami bal korjanja simba pad me be korwa musayo parjo.
In the space in front appears the Guru in the form of Amitabha, surrounded by inconceivable retinue of bodhisattvas.
Namo Konjo Sam Dan Zawa Sam Jane Nan La Jiao Sun Je Ro Gong San Je Lang Gu Je Chan Chun Cho De Sem Je To Namo Konjo Sam Dan Zawa Sam Jane Nan La Jiao Sun Je Rô con san je lang gu che chan jun jo de sem je do.
Namo to the three jewels and the three roots, the places of protection, I go for refuge. In order to establish all beings in Buddhahood, I give rise to the mindset on supreme awakening.
Hai cho che te san yo ba ye jar wa se che tham je la ko ne thang we chan sa lo me to do be ma ne che sha ze ro mo la so pa ngen je yi je chen ne ba pa be so je ye sa sa to ma me ne ta te pa me ge che tan sa me nga sem ne nyu mo wan jer be de ba tam je sha bar je nian de ran ja chan cho sen so su je wo la so pa te san ge wa che za pa so na la ne da ye ran sem je nam je san ba ta lo ye che cha che da wa che chong te mo te ba ye che jang ko lo ko de so ko wa che se ma dong Nhã mê nà đà thô dê yà Dông ngà yam zô chên wà yà Sêm jê nà la zê sơ sô Đà kê sô nà chê sā pa Tham jê chan chê jê chan nè Rinpoche Dhondrup Rinpoche Bardo Da Jurji.
Page 10. With sincere faith, I pay homage to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas abiding in the 10 directions and 3 times. I offer flowers, incense, lamps, fragrances, food, music, and the like, actually arranged and mentally created. Supreme Gathering, please accept them. I confess all evil deeds, the 10 non-virtues, the 5 acts without interval that I have committed, overpowered by mental afflictions. Since beginner's time until now, I rejoice in the merit, all the virtue accumulated in the 3 times by Shravakas, Pratyeka, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, ordinary beings, and the like. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the greater and lesser vehicles and the teachings common to both, according to the aspirations and diverse mental capacities of sentient beings. Until samsara is emptied, do not pass into nirvana, but compassionately look upon sentient beings drowning in the ocean of suffering. May all the merits I have accumulated become the cause of awakening, and may I soon become a glorious guide of beings. The field of accumulation dissolves into me. Thus, the mind of the 4 immeasurables has arisen within the mind streams of myself and all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness. May they be free from all suffering. May they never be separate from happiness. May they abide in great equanimity. Page 13. Appearance and existence. All phenomena of samsara and nirvana are empty by nature. Not realizing this, how afflicted are deluded beings in samsara. My own awareness appears as a white Sri, the manifestation of unified emptiness, clarity, and compassion. The Sri transforms into myself, appearing as Chenrezig, seated upon a cushion of lotus and moon. I have one face and four arms. Two are joined at the heart, and the other two hold a lotus and garland. Peaceful and with loving countenance, I am dressed in the garments of a Sambhogakaya Buddha, sitting in cross-legged posture. My lower body is enfolded in a lotus. In the space in front, upon a seat of lotus and moon, appears a red tree gleaming with light. The light rays pleasing the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions and gathering their knowledge, love, and power. The light then dissolves back into the tree. Again, light rays radiate to the 6 realms, purifying the karmic visions, self-grasping, and habitual imprints of sentient beings. The light gathers back and the tree transforms into supreme protector of beings, Buddha Amitabha. His bright red like a mountain of rubies, with one face and two arms in equipoise mudra, holding a begging bowl. He is garbed in the three Dhamma robes and sits in the cross-legged posture, ceaselessly looking upon beings with eyes of compassion. He appears as the great embodiment of all Buddhas. On his right is the noble supreme Chenrezig, with one face and two arms, holding a white lotus with the left hand, white and adorned with jewels. He stands upright. To the left of the Lord is the Bodhisattva Vajrapani, with one face and two arms, holding a vajra in the left hand, blue and with jewels. He stands upright. They are surrounded by an assembly of bodhisattvas. Places of the principal Lord are marked with the 3 syllables. The syllables white, red, and blue light radiates to the 10 directions, and in particular to the pure land of Sukhavati, invoking the heart pleasure of Amitabha and his retinue, who then instantly appear at this place.
Hong Ran Re Ka Da Te Chin Shen Ka Ne Ran Dan Nan De Nan Tang Kor Dan Je De Ne Tang Tse Ye Xie Ye Ne Chang Tse Chiang Tu Jie Long Ne So Jie Ke Me Be Lo Dan Chang Ba Nam Ru Te Ho Na Wang Ge Nen De Xie Ne Chang Na Zo Be Ma Da We Den Den De Tam Tse Chung Kong De Da Nye Me Yo.
Page 17. Hong, in the great bliss sphere of my own primordially pure awareness abides Amitabha and retinue has the naturally present innate radiance. From the beginning, the Samaya being is one with the wisdom being, yet your form manifests from the expanse of great love and compassion in accordance with the mental inclinations of beings. Flowing your heart pledge, come here to this place and be seated invisibly from the mandala of the Samaya being upon a cushion of multicolored lotus and moon.
Om Dewa Saparva Rambeza Samaya Tsa Tsa Huang Pang Hua Samaya Te Cha Li. Ran Yang Kang Om A Hong Om A Hong Om A Hong Sawa Be Pura Pura Sura Sur Awar De Be So Hwa Om Sarva Be Pura Pura Sura Sur Awar De Be So Hwa Om Sarva Bim Pura Pura Sura Sur Awar Debi Soha Om Beza Sabara Nai Kan Shi Yin La Ji Dan Din Bin Chu Yuan De Yin Be Ran Xin Jia Rui Xia Den Be Zhou Gong Jiu Wang Pe Sen Cuo Ji Jie 当时鸟没夜晚下生的，这诚然见家瑞下登不，若公西北东瓦切，拉对没到那种这般的，日本人见家瑞见浪不，若公托瑞用电动电小。 连接家中拯救多变的，总之让人家人相浪不，若公司本钱来着玩笑，啥钱能为人间中面的，咱得让人家人头浪不，若公车老忙忙在玩笑。 各个拉索爱的面接家，西热让心家克兰布，若啊公家全年都把，若家就当天白下生的，他就让心家来家兰布，若公等在世间做玩笑。 不动诸所念就若没错，多就让人家人念朗不，若观强求生当定把修，王不真人对不用的啊，莫拉让人家若那朗不，若观上面的我把修。 扎西在大街当家是东，也是让人家我那兰不，若光三界用的头白手。
Page 19. 3. I offer this water endowed with 8 attributes, with the nature of generosity to the mouths of the victorious ones. May there be perfect fortune for all beings. I offer this food cleansing water, clear, cool, pristine, and exquisite, and with the nature of morality to the feet of the victorious ones. May all beings be relieved from the misery of existence. I offer various beautiful celestial flowers that have the nature of patience to the eyes of the victorious ones. May all beings be endowed with the 7 attributes of the higher realms. I offer naturally sweet-smelling scents and blended incense that have the nature of diligence to the noses of the victorious ones. May all beings become free from the bonds of existence. I offer this precious, radiant, and luxurious lamp that has the nature of meditation to the hearts of the victorious ones. May all beings clear away the dense darkness of their deluded minds. I offer fragrant medicinal elixir, saffron, and the like, which have the nature of transcendent knowledge to the bodies of the victorious ones. May all beings realize the inner nature of phenomena. I offer food endowed with the essence of 100 tastes, with the nature of method, to the tongues of the victorious ones. May all beings be sustained by the food of samadhi. I offer harmonious musical sounds, such as those of conch shell, drum, and bell, which have the nature of power to the ears of the victorious ones. May all beings be endowed with the awakening mind. I offer the 5 desirables that appease the senses and have the nature of prayer to the victorious ones. May all beings be satisfied by untainted bliss. I offer the 8 auspicious substances, the 8 auspicious symbols, and the 7 royal attributes, which have the nature of wisdom to the victorious ones. May all beings attain the attributes of Buddhahood.
Om sarva panza manga samandra saparana samaye. 东孙节的人家团结节，大德颂大马颂和波达，大乐浪中的百千千把，对面的千千的不瓦也。若光当真来学强身的。南大贤的同密结外修。
All owned and unowned things of the entire infinite billion-fold universe, my own body, enjoyments, and all possessions, I offer without holding anything back to the pure land of Sukhavati. May the self-grasping of beings be thereby fully pacified, and may they be endowed with the awakening mind, and may their birth in the pure land be unobstructed.
恩人那门扎拉本扎门嘎啊吼。mani bala ya beza sato te no pa te cha che jo me ba wa su de ka ya me ba wa su de ho ya me ba wa an ra zo me ba sa wa su de me ba yin za sa wa ka ma su dan me zu dan shi re ya ka ro wa sa wa da dang ga dang be za ma men be zan be za ba ha ma ha sa ma sa do a zang be me a 万间世界赛人，我本在瑞典啊，这家人可有给来为农红有人到兰州，想表面好的那个到。花上也那个也花，花呀，怎么子？我姐，那我姐，大舅我姐，马我姐，你爸妈听话。嘛干嘛没到，都不嘛那啥嘛，这钱嘛，你嘛大我说来那么人要是呢，我说那个没有，反正不说话嘛，讲话，起码能把大话的呢，这个。ne kachu samwe shivi yondo morai tuji chuvi dondo shi su su shi ne shinji lam do song san shi bu shu shu shi mian do zhai shi ne ne wa ne san ye la mi ye chen shu ai chang zhe Yo zhen xia ba dai wen su so ye
So our Vietnamese friends here are presenting the mandala and they are from
Nhóm tín đồ Phật giáo Hòa Hảo và Trung tâm ca Khen Check Linh Hải Phòng, Việt Nam.
Thank you and rejoice.
Om Dewa, Om Dewa, Om Dewa, Om Dewa.
Om
Dewa, Om Dewa.
Chonam Wenge Damjela Temoja de Solwa Simze Dungal Munselwa Chugi Drumi
Bordu, so. Rome, Juji, and Jeborana, the Sunday, near Sinji, Ocean Donde. So, Lame shall also one the Dosu Simji, and Jija Lochus and Rover Sinja love the so Chulam and Rover Sinja love. Lantra was Sinja love the Trua is and Java Sinja love the so. Yang Tring answer Katzang and something my show young is. 가장 안 해서 다 인라도 바가다네 산사가 인바스.
So today we continue the teachings from yesterday and of the 7 branch. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yo.
Sorry, we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me?
Ina, I'm so sorry, but your voice
Yes.
is not projected in the hall. Could you please repeat again?
Oh, is it projected now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, so we are continuing the teachings from yesterday, and of the 7 branches, we came yesterday to the branch of prostration.
동순직대 람장 참미 린치진간 진바스고 밤에 침되어지 테네데베 탐모제 테네데베 소나 체버서 돼서 밤에라 교산 차 가게가 밤에 신데는 가게면 이거를 보다 렌즈 장야 대바지 대 테네데베 소나 체버서 된 산초블란을 숨어도 공부 밤에 삼살로 들으리다.
Can I go to it? Go to sa? Sawa go to sa kanara. So I think that's where we were. Whosoever hears the name of Amitabha and develops just once a faith, which comes from the depths of his heart and bones, is not empty talk, will never lose the path to enlightenment. I prostrate to the protector measureless light.
동순직대 람장 장미바 따라 단 직딘지 감 장미바려 자치 뭐 합정기 자치 뭐 장미바 말아서 직딘지 감레라 다른 나는 잠블랭 직딘기 차해직마다 차상 차고 말해 대답부터 직딘지 감 장미바 드니 대탐 자치 좀 대답을 드니 디나는 다른 림보치가 렉 다저노 림보치 생을다 가레이나 림보치가 아마가 파깡네로 빼는 가서 된 강반은 먹게 강화나 이 파깡네로 림보치를 동성 동진부 담지 파깡네 산지라 퓨 산지어 밤밀이야 퓨야 발레 세게 될 퓨야 될 소남 삼지 마셔봐 요래 봐스 디 소남 될 장송래 짐바 심바다 아피야 말이야 마 짐바 땅이야 짐바 Jimba Simba ways on the ma, that was Jimba Tangel, but that the no Tonsum to Tonchimbo count, Jonolum to the Jimba Tangel, Tisunam Tetan, then Obama been seen the tune, so Obama can seen tune, the Ning around Hajang get the Pachene, the Pache, the packaging much gene, the Nissan Sariabai, then you soon securities in us, Koran is soon securities in us. The next one that are Sansabat Sunam Chigure.
So in the verse just before, it speaks about so it is said it is of greater merit to join the palms out of faith and hearing the name of Amitabha and about Dewachen than to fill countless 3,000-fold universes of vast extent with jewels and offer them as a gift. And so this 3,000-fold universe is the endless billion-fold universe. And for example, if we think of our world is just a tiny fraction of this billion-fold universe. There is limitless worlds, just as this world here. And so now if you imagine all of these worlds being filled with offerings of precious jewels and gold and silver and so forth, completely filling them up. For example, just like this building would be filled up with people. And similarly, the billion-fold universe is filled up with all these precious objects, which are made as an offering to the Buddha Amitabha. The merit of that is inconceivable. But then what is of a greater merit? Is it to offer this billion-fold universe filled up with precious jewels to the Buddha Amitabha, or is it to just simply hearing the Buddha Amitabha's name with a mind of faith and then paying homage to the Buddha Amitabha? So actually, it is a greater merit to prostrate to the Buddha Amitabha with a mind of faith.
That's Sanji Pamin Sin Tune, Deba catching my genet, Sansan, Sunam data, Jachimunduas. Sanji Song Lawayama was data of Sunam years. Da Sanji Latini, Deba catching my genet, Sansan Sunam data Yuna, telling around so hatching Sunam Chimbori was. Tangaran to pay Sanji Obamigan Sin 2. The name of the Tama Sanji Obamila Deba, Zeki by your was. Deba Zeki you put that. That's also betik to two. Chingagi to two zoo. Roa. Be Zachimbo Shivijil Z. Benata Gang in Nata Gang in country Unaya, Soso Leka Kanda Mambo Unaya, Maso Chitambi Che Ya, Chung Jursen. The need Taranganas or apartment Samnamnesia, the kitchen, but in Zebi lived the Euros. Then another that's one, the next one on the Tatsiliga was. Apartment Sergeant, the Pachin, Sergeant Sarawatan, Sunam Teta Yuna, the name of Tahamam Boltini, Kavachi, the name Yamiche Euros. Then the tennis Sunam Sandi Machaparit, Teta Sunam Chimbo in Bangak Hako, or when Arankawa Zambo Chaso, some rivers. Damjoju militop, Damjoju militoya, let out animal, Damjoju militop, Dambuchu danger, Sanji Obamican scene 2, Sanji Obami, Musin Amnesia, Cocapcho, One Manasuna Sandi Mashaparido, something so pay, Gawa Gongwe, Hakan Kitchen Bores.
And so it is an incredible merit for us to simply hear the Buddha Amitabha's name and to prostrate with just a moment of faith in our minds. And that is what the Buddha had said, and the Buddha's words are undeceiving. So this is the kind of great merit that we possess. even if we just give rise to a moment of such devotion or faith, there is that much merit. And now when we think about our merit, it is really an incredibly great merit. Because we all have heard the Buddha Amitabha's name, and we all have single-pointedly prayed to the Buddha Amitabha with great faith. And a sign of that is that you all have made this time to come here for the practice because you consider it as something very important, something very precious, no matter what other circumstances you may have had in your lives, whatever difficulties or sickness or many activities, a lot of work you have, you made this time to leave all your great activities aside to be here in practice. And that is extremely significant. So if just a moment of great faith and prostration is such a great merit, then we can really rejoice in our merit because we have been engaging in this practice now for several days. And that is really an inconceivable merit. We need to recognize that and think that I'm really extremely fortunate. I have found a precious human body, which is already not easy to find. And then I have encountered the Holy Dharma, and I have heard the Buddha Amitabha's name, and I am engaging in Buddha Amitabha's practice. That is an incredible merit, and it's important to recognize that and rejoice in that.
COVID-19 nasa yorma sang phazin ro phugo yo marwa nasa tungo yungri na yungri chugri samsa de yorwa yina ya ta tso thamji pha tso katse nga da jingna yona de pha ya narwa nga chudrya de kichimbo yin sam apa minyamne sian de ngane kokap zambore te kokap ma shawa chigo sa leya ta te sa chimbore delta sunap chimbo yore se ajimjine.
So Anna just mentioned you came here despite of illness. What I was really speaking about is not a general illness, but the COVID-19 pandemic that many people are afraid of going back and forth, and they're worried about getting sick and even dying. There's a lot of fear around this, and even though there is a lot of fear around this, you didn't regard the fear, but you considered that the Dharma is very important, and to come here and take the opportunity to practice the Buddha Amitabha. So that is really a great merit and a great blessing.
Kagi opa me betsin tuna kagi me peningo robeten lenji zamshi te pachiban tene sanchu lana sumudong bo opa me la sanchalos.
Then whosoever hears the name of Amitabha and develops just once a faith, which comes from the depths of his heart and bones, is not empty talk, will never lose the path to enlightenment. I prostrate to the protector, measureless light.
Kanza kanshige ta sud seinari masud seinaya tene sanji opa me kin sintu pena maranso ta o Singapore Amadeva Dhondrup yoridas Dhondrup sin kharijin o pami sanji pami tene nyamne chiki yores tene pami sorisina sanji pami sinata maranso ko simchi tamji donghale nardeva teta tamchi le tene sinjel lamni donghale doni dewanangoni sanji machapat de yores tene sanji pami namtar loji tu teni kap tendrele teni ngake te pasanji machapi che yongwayina teni ta ti jote se teni kagi nimi ke teni ngake te pati che wayina chirang nguni sanje pami namta loji hako yuna re ya jinla teni ngake te pati che ya te jinla yongwe yore samsa te pati teng sapo yore tapar simna na yore samsa jinta pe loji ta namta to son jina ya te pati che yongwe yore 다 주지 간르르 되나야 드니 대파지 년거로 보더니 제용와이나 손 대파질 되게 랑기 줄라 랑기 줄라 사운 give us sound 요노라 give us sound give us some love chimunjon tini telatine tini rampa in the tini sancho bulan madoba chine tato ta nekam dongal torian tato tini lana me sancho ju compa topo rezo.
So whosoever hears the name of Amitabha, so for example, in Singapore, you have engaged, you have heard about this practice of the 100 million mantra recitation retreat of the Buddha Amitabha. And so then, what is this? It is a practice of the Buddha Amitabha. Then who is the Buddha Amitabha? The Buddha Amitabha grants his blessings and liberates sentient beings who are tormented by the suffering of samsara, and he establishes them on in a place of happiness. So when we hear about the story of the Buddha Amitabha, then a great devotion may arise within our mind, really a heartfelt, sincere devotion. Or sometimes other conditions lead to the arising of strong devotion. So sometimes we could develop great devotion when we hear the history, or sometimes great devotion arises due to any other causes and conditions. But in any case, if this devotion arises, this faith arises really from the depths of one's heart and bones, then a very vast virtuous imprint or seed is placed within one's mind stream, and one progresses on the path to enlightenment, meaning that temporarily one will become liberated from suffering, and ultimately one attains the state of enlightenment.
Sanje Pami Pen Sintune, Tene Sanchi Nubo Mato Pimi Jerenazam, which Terra Condu Sutranam that church. They hear Pamela Sansala also.
Then, from the time of hearing the name of Buddha measureless light until obtaining Buddhahood, I will not be born in an inferior body, but take birth in a good family and have a pure conduct in all lives to come. I prostrate to measureless light, gone to bliss.
Sanje Pamin Sintu Nagatini, Depa Jevayanatini, Jiva Samatini, Mulu Lutin Zambo Tovia. Then Tambe Chuduyak and Tunjin Sam Lutin Tovia. The Yongo Saris. Then it Tambe Chuduyak Liti Tomnatini, Tambe Chuturi in the Yamsili, Soso Sunza, Chuchum, Labatam de Yon, Song Tuba. Then it the Yongo Saris.
So by merely hearing the name of the Buddha Amitabha and developing faith in future lives, one may obtain a precious human incarnation, precious human birth, and also one will have complete all the conditions necessary for Dharma practice. So one will have a body that engages in Dharma practice and practices properly the Dharma, and observes the pure conduct of ethical discipline perfectly.
Sorry, not Hindrupines. So the Sansar Sayate Nagate Payunit in a Kujapchi, Tandodin Kujape. Sanjay Pamil Hatjanga Gatan Rua Gatan it in Nagi Kujapchi. De Pacheres, De Payunit, Kujapri. Kujap de Maransuchi, De Pashiba the Zonga Lunga is Namjurzamayba, same thing, Ninko Ruputinitini, Sanjay Pamil De Pate Ishi Pogonetini, Sansana, Takundu Shibana Yegatini, Silap Tobures. Takuba Hibate Kazang and Huma Yan Shuin. Sanjay Pamil Kupayan go Yurilla, Maranzu Chudo, Chichela Patso and Kupayan go Yures, Kujap said. Karazin give a dreya tamji. Give a dreya tamji, don't roji Karazina, Dewa Toyak Chit Connery. Ben Sanjay or Pamilang, so Sanjay or Pamil de Pachi Yamnichiatia, Sosola Sunam down Deva Topuere. There is Sanjay or Pamiking around Labza, 다 나랑서 지게와 드비야 시게와 드비야 조원하네 나랑서 따라 지지를 규협지야 그러와 지지를尊重지야 지지를 제와트야 다 소용 거요래 대 추단야 통거요래스 대내 나랑서 온다지 얘는다 하장게 소남 침보를 상고요 나랑서 상만 그러와 나랑서 담배 주당 대전 잠블링 나네다 담배 그 담절 그 밀리톱 밀리나야 나네야 나랑서 담배 추드비야 톱 드니 담배 추드비야네 쟁나랑지 라마 게위히니 체르딩바 망본자가 여러와 소소게 라마 게위히니 망본자요래 드니 라파르당 나랑서 따라 잡진 같이는 보지 따와 나랑서 자야한테 하장게 소남 산지 마차바 사요래 상도로와 나랑서 지 라마 게위히니 자르세야데 소남 팀에는 자트고요 사마 라마 체르딩바데 소남 삼지 마차바 사발테네 담저주 밀리톱 소남 삼지 마차발 사발테네 담배추던절 소남 삼지 마차바 사발테네 라마 게위히니 체르딩바 자고요래 데데네 나랑서 따라 리틴 들라 데네 라마 게위히니 데네 체르딩바 같이는 보진 자르테네 나랑서 담배추 튀데 하창게 나랑서 다 소나 산지 마차바 유버 다 대리 상부여스 내가는 참아 소남 침보리세야 돈다 조대인스 드니 대게 땅 안에 남주게 제 개와 줘야 득바빠야 람도망보난 거요래 답발콩 다라고노 침보리 등 안에 람도난 거도 와스 람도데 콩고째와 소데 도도는 마 파비와이나 삼바드 제와 샘지 탐질 제와 공야 강투투 제와 공야 다제 돈다 도도 대리되어레스 드네 때 나나서 때 맞이 베체 샘르죠 그러게 양서 송고도 안서 라마게 거데 자친구 말이스 라마 송데 자친구 레송도 데다 공고 송야리 때는 안서 양서 저이랑이나 라마 송 따제와 골리 송도 제와 골리 송 제와 샘지 탐질 골리 송용도 제와 샘지 탐질 고요나 다 인디 말한게 다 진남주 소속의 나무 소속의 조보 소속의 레카치사 가와이나야 되니 제와도 고요래 말로 임베 제와 때고도 빼지거래 이나야 뭐 임바 제와 고요래 데데 되니 참 마치치 제와 곰 제와 야고치 조바곰 라산 남다치 드니 당한지 주자치 버드트나 야보레 시라자치 마시장 아마데와테 야보사 드레치 데나 드니 안서 담주주 밀세야데 돈을 송여 말해 마체 돈다 딘바스 마체 돈다 딘바텔라 드니 첸들라 데힌 기바스 데힌 기바 조볼라 데탄유바 셈바 기보유바 드니 마체 돈다 딘바 드니 나기 티드네 담배추 같이 드드 냠내잖아 드니 마치 돈다 데바 차고요레스 데인지 단 남중 하나서 제 마체체야 되지 랭진에 되나 로자 로든치 자추 납주 제 링본도 제리데 랭진에 되나 베 링보케 말이 조본도고요레 람산 존을 빼는 거나서 아무데야 동조 소야 잡릭 다 망버지야래 그래와 소양무스 샤마 일레비 샤마 이 존들에 존 베티타브레 마체들 람산 조고요래 대인데 니마 찌기나리 니나리 나랑 마체데 나랑 그 집어서 그래 나랑 그 집어서거나 나 집어고도 세나 집어 영약해요 말이 집어고노나 집어지야 가래리도 집어거나 ngal tsewa ko samba tsewa laksan namda samba de tsewa laksan namda matsama yapo yona sana ta kipotini yongata chena kaduyena semba deoyore tiboyore trobo tromo mangbo yore tende yena tene ngala matse tonda dimba chagoyore tende chena ta sanji pamila sansalo seyake tonda sansalo seyate zo ngaran zo darati ngajagi nimborwa tene 다 ngajar스야 됐을 ngajar스 ngajar 산제를 게 ngajar 지게요 바로 ngajar 지사스 nga랑도 찍지는 ngajar 지게요래 다 때는 nga게 제와 곰 그협제나 되는 nga자들랑 이게 말이 총로요 다때 사체된 거 자게요레스
So this was the branch of prostration, and so the main point is that when we have faith, then also respect arises in the mind. So that is when we feel very close to the Buddha Amitabha, then faith arises, and then we also naturally respect the Buddha. And so when we speak about faith and respect, it's not mainly about how our actions of body, speech, and mind kind of come across, but it really has to come from the bottom of our hearts. And if it does, then we will receive the blessings of the Buddha Amitabha. And so we spoke about respect before. That we cultivate respect toward the Buddha Amitabha, but also it's necessary to respect one another, each other, Dhamma friends. And that is because we all need to engage in a practice of virtue. And what is the purpose of virtuous practice? It is to find happiness. So when you cultivate devotion to Amitabha and engage in practice, that is a great merit. And as a result of that, you will achieve happiness. And so therefore, when it comes to practicing virtue, mainly that also means that we respect each other and we're considerate of each other, and we give each other love. And then we act in accordance with the Dharma. And that is an inconceivable great merit. So now we have found a precious human body in this world, and we have encountered the Buddha Dharma. We can engage in practice, and we also have encountered an authentic spiritual master. We have met with many spiritual masters, and in particular, we have met with His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche, which is really an incredible, great merit to meet such a great master. If we wouldn't have such an incredibly amount of merit, it would be impossible to even meet such an incredible master like Garchen Rinpoche. So we have the merit to have met him, and we also have met his teachings, his Dharma teachings. So the merit is really inconceivable. And Rinpoche continues to guide us along the path. Even though Rinpoche is already quite elderly, he still guides us along the path. And that is an incredible merit. And so how does he guide us along the path? And really, in essence, what he tells us is to cultivate love and kindness for one another. We need to cultivate love as much as we can for all sentient beings. And we should never forget about that. We should always keep that in mind. And he also always says that the guru's body is not what's most important, but what's most important is the guru's speech. So that's why it is important to keep in mind what the guru has told us. And in essence, what he told us is to cultivate love for all sentient beings. And so since we need to cultivate love for all sentient beings, then of course we need to cultivate love for our family members, our friends, the people at work. So we need to cultivate love for anyone. And just like we want to be loved by others, others also want to be loved. So we need to cultivate love and patience and a pure intention. If you have that, it is actually sufficient. Of course, if you have the opportunity to practice the Dharma really extensively, then that is excellent. But even if you don't know a lot of Dharma and you just accumulate the Amideva mantra, your human life really has become meaningful. You will achieve happiness, well-being in this life. So physical well-being and mental happiness, your life becomes meaningful. If you do the best you can to practice the Dharma in this life. So on the one hand, it may seem that our life is long. We live to 100 years or maybe 70, 80, 50 years. but on the other hand, it might not be so long. Actually, our lifetime is really running out very quickly. For example, how long have we prepared for this Amitabha 100 million mantra recitation retreat? I mean, now we're already on day 4 and the retreat is about to be over. And so just like that, our lifetime exhausts itself. So therefore, it is important that we make the best of our life and we create happiness in our life. So if we want to create happiness in our life, then the only way to do that is to cultivate love for others and a good intention, just wishing everyone well. If you have this in your mind, then you will always be happy and you will have many friends. Your life becomes meaningful. So when we prostrate to the Buddha Amitabha, we have said that the main point in doing that is that it becomes an antidote to pride. And so when it comes to pride, we are not prideful with respect to the Buddha. When pride arises, it arises between each other. That's when we become prideful. And that is why it is important to also show respect and give love to one another. And then one's pride will naturally diminish. And so that really is the essence of practicing prostration.
Tata Dara Konding Ananzo Dara chance of in Lati Shindrumne, Teni Taran Chupambari in Latins. Tan Chupa said they are conscious of some chup cigarette and you. Courage in the conscious of Chugores, Rava. Nay conscious of Hilapin, conscious of the Yigris. Shingtopin Yigre, Metopin Yigre, Ro, Upin Yigre, Nabzapin Yigres, Toronto in the conscious and Kogu Ves, Kong Yigres. That the conscious in the Tangas, the conscious in the Goning as Puyo Madas, conscious in the best Samasaya Yana to Lokoya. Cheating as a pure, Karachit pure to that. So, Maranga Sunam Saya. Maranga Sunam Saya cheat, control ya chupap. That control in chupapia, so depa the Tana, titting alata, ya pure is. They pure the conscious of Zigay, Chiran depa tanang than putu, puba. There then Chiran Suna, the tinty top wear. 가래지는 게 피고 그래서는 다 남주 말한서 귤 센나 세지였다. 센나 따라 kon 주바대야 소보대 가나 센는 보인 소도와. 되니가 양 주바 피에도 조 센나 세대 가나서 징이야 관도 지리다. 되는 찍이야 관하시. 찍이는 그저 잡토면도 파든로 투면도 지난 찍이야 네더니 팔로네 매게 찍는거나 지난 러트 투고 말해 찍지저리 마도 가려지는 거 찍이야라 택박 찍 센나세도 뺏디나 일 센나 유네존데 나랑게 까블레 망보 자크여로 봐 까블레 망보 자네더니 까블레 망보 가래 자거 날 준노롬 주고도 삼테는 알 까블레 자 그러와 까블레 잡스도 준노롬 주데더니 파 비주시라 땅 말하겠지 당한테 존로그린 당금 말에 로와 삼테니 코팅 야바나지 차거다 땡 야바나 가드는 셈바 버섭도 보 셈바 맞지 봐 근데 이거요. 그 센나데 요 참즈론데 셈들 파 좋아요 말이. 파 셈들 랍요 말이 주니. 철담 야바나 있잖아. 되니 기포시라 요 말이. 델르티네 센나르티네 센들랑 기포요 말이라 스마야 센나데게 니손숨 되는 니손숨 그나네 되니 여다기였던 리인도 깨는 여러 봐스. Desni, Tati Senat Pami Parzog, same now. Me Parzog, then as Lamsang Majiling, but that's state room. Ma conjoson te pa chimboji do ta conjoson te pa tele che phu do sam ra phu yong te ya por tele tin tin kale kale nga ga sem de chik chuba na is chu yong ta chik chuba na ji chu yong wa ina o ta chirang ta sem le te pa lem ne sem te slu so as ta ti chal chirang sem le te wa yang lem yong te pa chal te wa yang lem ta te wa lem o nga le juno lom du te sto as ro 다 뭐이바 강이 됐어도 다 로바테스 거사셔 다 뭐냠 다들 때스 짐바다야 로바지야 되는 소용 거래 데스 다 된리 제바이나 다 지난 셈바데 찌기가 바나게 마트인데 셈발라 찌뽀엔 됐어요 거다 찌뽀 영화를 띠네 되네 지난 게 개와 망전드 로바 망자치 갈래 로바만 때땡아 짐발라 우리 짐바 lugu gone ya ropa chi chogudo nga ga gone yin la pin se ke je che chogudo yi ji gone yin la tsewa te chogudo ta te se tini dambe chugus namdo nga chu dambe chugus namyo la botela dambe chugus namjo chirang ge senna ya te se ma chong ro ro semba ya ji bo cha nga chu namjo ta da ma kha ye junon namjo yo na ya pe 비주 땅마와치 소소게 배 롱스주 마다바치 센나게 되니 지범미 바치 되니 소소 나마 찍지는 추바자 라 분치 바로는 추바자 되니 지거 되니 때때스 논루도 와시 센나게 카히 파마 답메세들 칼레자자 되니 니마치를 밤줄한도 그러와 나랑 정루 나랑 저때 밤줄게 치대야 소소 부고도 때 추바자 추바스자 나랑 담보 밤절사데 먹이만 망보 드비어 로 나랑 셔서데 나랑 밤절데 지네야 다 나랑 그 부고도 소양 초바자 디지네 멍토네 그럼 먹이만 망보 드 도소 연구여다 도소 우유 내서 달아가서 하고 여러 와서 데인데 나랑 그때서 담배 치던 레와차 안데 오 나랑 그 갑래 자고요래 밤절사고 여러 와 오 약혼 줬으면 주바테스 스프 와 뭐냠 타데서 로바테스 파체 와 소소를 사양 통해 고래 인디 상황에 땅이 걸라가면야 내가 가래지 않고 참 수유 바치 와 림파리 찍는 거 때때때 빼야 보여래 소소를 따라 저 놀럼주 가래 강타 강유 바테 탐지 문제 수남 코너된 톱이다 수나는 마틴 따라 치란 레베저 갑제 잠지요 말이에요 대대 레베저 강유 바 수남 된 톱이래 나라 따라 저런 놈주 나랑 레가야 보지라서는 문제 수남 그때는 라요래 나랑 저보 야 보지 톱서네 문제 수남 그때니 지난 톱이래 나랑 춤상 수보지 부차바이나야 문제 수남 그때는 나 뒤부면서 수보나는 지와래 참아 수남 그때는 나 너다 차서 말이지 대인데 당에 수남 써야 돼 나랑 그 따라 밤준이 찍바래 나랑 그 밤저때 나랑 그 치드 비주 땅가는 이마지 존도와 되네 수남대 나랑 따라 찌뽀스 대대는 나 수남 존도 되네 많이 배치 나라 요대 반대 수남리도 수남 구절 톱도 다동의 수남도 먼토도 싸고사 수남 그 윤체 맞지 배치 다동하고 수남 싸고사 대답이야 컨트롤은 주바피야 인념 탈로 교시야 남타로 교실에서 망보도 앞에는 네바 강이지 데니베 사전 통지 민족 만냠타바 앞에는 소소르지 차진 밤조요나 마긴바 강이시란 통고 말이 은혜 힘죽스를 빼티 답제세 소용을 뜻 힘죽지 되니 망보하고 대인들이 대다 탐지를 받았을 때는 등하게 소토에 대해서 오나게 지역된 톱이래라 되니 파 비주대야 숨남 그 치드더니 나한테니 야보여 되니 지완들라야 가와 지와 스마야 대와 되니 망가나 지와 스마야 가드에는 되니 롬주유 바착을 와서 다른 안을 리딘들라야 각기 우리신 풍바 배sor세나야 주노 마타바 Kasi Juno Tona Yamana Chola Shora, Yamana Polandoya, Yamana Yinjin Choya, Dona Lonsu Ju Marabatan, Gangi Mambodo, Sunam Gutani, Sunam the meets data in where is.
So that completes the discussion on prostration. And so the next is now the offering. And we always speak about making offerings to the 3 jewels. And so why is it that we need to make offerings to the 3 jewels? And so one may wonder and ask the question, if I offer this food to the 3 jewels, will they actually get it or eat it? Or if I offer this fruit, or if I offer this flower, or if I offer this money and so on, will they actually get it? Will they actually enjoy it? Or will they actually take the robes that I'm offering to them? Do they actually need all these offerings? So the reason why we are making offerings to the 3 jewels is not because we think that they need these things. That is not why we are offering food or clothing and so on. The reason why we make these offerings is for us to accumulate great merit. And mainly we do that when we make offerings to the 3 jewels with a mind of faith and a pure perception. And that is what the 3 jewels will see. It is our mind of faith and a pure perception. And then you surely will attain great merit. So why is it not that we in general are being generous or make offerings? It is because it is an antidote to the afflictive emotion of stinginess or greed. So when we are stingy, greedy, then it is almost like we are being tied down by ropes. When you're tied down by ropes, then you can't move. For example, even if there's a fire breaking out next to you, you can't run, you can't go anywhere because you're tied down by the ropes. And being very stingy or greedy is just like that. It actually is a great difficulty, a great hardship. So first of all, you have to accumulate all your wealth. And that is a great hardship in itself. But then if you're very stingy, then you're not going to use your wealth. You will always feel that, what if I lose my wealth? And what if it gets lesser? And then I don't have enough, and so on. So in this kind of mind state keeps your mind in bondage. And if the mind is very stingy and greedy, then the mind is always kind of very narrow-minded, and you are usually very unhappy. So a person who is very stingy doesn't find a lot of joy, and their mind doesn't have a lot of power. It is like they are being tied up by ropes. They're not never really happy. So they're never really happy in this life. And in future lives, this mind of stinginess drags one down into the 3 lower realms, into the realm of the hungry spirits. So therefore, we have to eliminate our stinginess. And if you're able to give others, it is good. But even if we're not able to give away all of our things, we start with cultivating great faith in the 3 jewels and having a wish to make an offering. And that is already excellent. And then slowly, as you become more generous, it is like your mind becomes released from this bondage of stinginess, and faith arises, and your mind becomes a bit more relaxed. And along with that, also love and care for others arises. And then you feel that I have this wealth, I should help others who experience difficulties. Then you look around and you see that there's actually many others who are needy, who are poor, and who require our help. And then if you help them, you gradually become released from this bondage, and your mind becomes more and more happy. Actually, the more you then help, the more happy you become. So that is a generosity. when you give to others. For example, you offer them your physical help, or with your speech, you speak to them in a meaningful way, in a beneficial way. And with your mind, you give them love. And when you do that, then the blessings of the Holy Dharma will really enter your mind. And as your stinginess leaves you, your mind becomes more happy, just naturally. So we should really look very carefully. So normally, even though we might have some wealth, some possessions, we often don't really make use of them. And this wealth kind of ties us down, ties our mind down. And that makes us feel unhappy. For example, that is the cause of a lot of conflict in families. There's a lot of fight over wealth, even just the slightest wealth. For example, children fight over the wealth of their parents. And so first the parents have worked all their lives to create this wealth. And then one day they will have to leave it all behind because they're going to die. And then you have their children fighting all over their wealth. So first, when those parents accumulated the wealth, they had to engage in many non-virtuous activities to get to that wealth. And then they die. And then their children fight over it. So they accumulate even more non-virtue. And these are things that are actually happening a bit in families or anywhere. So for us, we have a connection to the Dharma. And so when we find someone that experiences difficulties, someone who is needy, it is good to help them or to make some offerings to the 3 jewels. And of course, you need to also eat and drink. I'm not saying that you have to give away everything you have, but there is a good measure to everything. So you give in moderation, whatever you can of your wealth. So also the fact that you have this wealth is due to the merit that you have accumulated in the past. If you wouldn't have merit, you wouldn't find even a needle's worth of happiness in this life. So everything good that you gain in this life is because of merit. All the wealth, all the possessions you gain is because of merit. Or if you find a good job, it is because of merit. Or if you find a good companion, that is because of merit. Or if you are born as a child in a rich family, that is also because of merit. So merit and wealth, in some sense, is actually the same thing. And we have to make use of it because one day we'll be exhausted. And so it is the same with merit. So for example, if you just sit there happily and enjoy it, then this merit will just come to an end one day. So we shouldn't allow that to happen, but instead should try to increase our merit. Recognize that whatever I have now, I have because of great merit. I must continue to create more of this merit. And then you go and make offerings to the 3 jewels, or you help the poor and the needy. For example, there's many people who are very sick and who need difficulty, who need help. And then there's many who have many great difficulties in their lives, or who don't have food and drink, and so on. Now, normally when we have all of our own needs met, then we don't really recognize the difficulties in others. But actually, if you look closely, there's a lot of difficulties to be seen in others. And if you help them just a little bit, it is an incredible merit. And you're increasing the merit that you already have. And that will lead to happiness in this life and also in future lives. In future lives, you will always encounter wealth. And also now in this lifetime, you experience happiness. So, for example, if one hasn't accumulated any merit, there are many poor people who make great effort, but they cannot find anything. And even if they find wealth, sometimes they lose their wealth, or somebody else takes it from them, or somehow they end up not being able to use their wealth. And so this is what happens when one lacks the merit.
Then so go luta, so keeper, the keeper luta. Then lom ju juno give it our rang sunam give it our tamja, conjosum, chupa pugores. 다 조 가르생 아주 착바스야 돼 신나의 착바스 신나의 착바 대마 해고로 왔어 신나 착바 가발 찍어래 소속을 르 소속을 럼주 소속을 남주 가야게 다 잘랑 보이나리 가래 소속을 제와 힘차 제사가 저 가래나 근데 때야 건조선에 야 푸서 건조선에 푸 들치고래스 난 너는 소속을 응보 저너 럼주 가래 소소르페 야가 소소원이 야가 가래나 태야 피골 양 삼장 안 쓰지 소소 비주 민요로 돼야 피하는지 연구도 되는 많이 비치 나랑 가히 나랑 힘바도 차바치 정보 가래나 태야 피골에스 되니 이 지트스 소소랑고 전원 미장 되니 이 그때는 되니 짜히 답제의 제제의 다른 뭐 지그래 그래서 나그 생각나는 망보 전에 야 퓨처다 빼는 거는 띵 강반 되는 데는 빼행겨도 강바 코란 고바야보도 자만도 되네 로그 주바 되네 디나는 펩데 방안 상마 빼 행겨 자년도 대 탐지야 퓨 들으신 게 없어요.
So in brief, when we what we cherish the most is our body, and so all of the wealth that we have created, and the possessions and so all roots of virtue, we need to offer them up to the three jewels. And so mainly it is because of our attachment and our stinginess, and that needs to be eliminated. And so how does this attachment, this greed arise? It arises on the basis of this cherished body or whatever else we cherish. For example, whatever objects or wealth you might possess that you are very attached to, that is precisely the thing that we actually need to offer up. So when we make an offering, we want to make an offering of something that is the best of what we have and the best of what we like the most. So sometimes people like to offer things that they don't really use or need so much anyways. But that's actually not the right way to do it. We should really actually offer whatever we like the most, whatever we are mostly attached to. And then moreover, we can also make mentally created offerings. So even if we don't have a lot of material things ourselves, we can bring to mind, for example, the 8 auspicious substances or the 8 auspicious symbols. We can bring to mind various precious objects and jewels and make that an offering. Or for example, when you look around in this room, everything is really very beautiful here. This whole array of offerings and so forth, it's all everything looks very nice, and it's very many lights, and everyone who comes here looks very beautiful. So we can just offer up this sense of beauty as well.
donata diktina yu de patamji yatni ya pyana tin de sama ya pyongarang le danom ju je ba sama ya pyo konju son pyin sam de jene tin de yores nam yu khasona pe ya bu nyenge wo yor shin cho re kare tong ya konju son pyo san de pe ya bo yores ta tren ka chin sam de ne isari kama simche ngado Then Gabriela, translators, thank you very much.
Then also we can make offerings of anything that exists in the universe. For example, we can offer a mountain, a room with the continents and the sun and the moon and so forth. Along with our body and wealth and possessions, we can offer anything to the three jewels. And so Normally, when we make offerings, we offer whatever comes to mind. So we offer beautiful. When you, for example, go to a beautiful place, there's beautiful trees, a beautiful water, and a nice scenery. Whatever pleasant thing you encounter, you can offer that to this rituals. That is really excellent. So actually we are stopping the teachings today 30 minutes early. So just so this would be the point of stopping the teachings.
Thank you, translator. Helped us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ina, for taking the time to translate for our retreat. Thank you for all your efforts.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Page 35. May bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, arise where has not been, whereas a reason may not decline, but ever increase higher and higher.
30 minutes to break.
Thank you, Rinpoche, thank you, translators. So now we'll be having the 15 minutes break, but we'd like to remind everyone, because after the break, we'll be opening the session to public. So please take care of your own belongings and please be seated at your dedicated seats. 那现在我们休息30分钟，就是休息完了以后呢，就会有开放给大众。那请所有的参加者呢，看好您的个人物品，然后请坐在你的这个固定的位置哦，请不要换位。And also, I would like to remind all of you to download the Changchuk text. So it is e-copy, soft copy. So please, you may proceed to the panel, the glass panel, which is at the back of the hall, to download the soft copy of the Changchuk text. So so because after this session, this break session will be Changchuk. 然后我们想要就是提醒大家，就是到这个会场的后面呢，有这个海报下载这个超度与祈福的这个法本，现在是都是在网页上的，所以请你们下载。好 ，and please be back at your seats before the next session, and we have enough snacks and beverages for all of you. So please proceed to our F&B counter to redeem. 那就是所有的参加者呢，现在我们有这个茶点供应给大家，所以请到这个就是餐饮部的柜台那里去领取你的饮料与茶点。